Welcome to this evening's Muskogee City Council agenda for June 26, 2017. Invocation this evening will be by Reverend Marlon Coleman, and then join us for the flag salute following.
Lord, we thank you so kindly for this day. We pray your blessing upon us as counselors, Lord, that we do what's in the best of the citizens of Muskogee. Give us guidance and direction to accomplish it to that end. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Join us for the flag salute. Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Cale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
We will now consider our minutes from the June 6th meeting and the June the 12th meeting. We'll do those both together. If there's not addition or correction, I'll entertain a motion.
I want to pull.
Get a motion?
Second.
In a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. The consent agenda tonight will be items 1 through 14. If there's anything anyone would like to move to regular agenda, make us aware of that. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion regarding consent agenda.
Mayor, I'm going to pull item 11.
Okay, item number 11. We'll move to regular agenda. So we'll be considering items 1 through 14, excluding 11.
Move for approval.
Any other?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 11 now.
Approved to accept the bid from Citywide Property Maintenance, LLC, in the amount of .0065 per square foot to mow lots, trash debris removal at $30 per cubic yard, boarding of structures per 4-foot by 8-foot sheets at $14, and the spraying of weeds at no charge, or take other necessary action.
Chief Eskridge here if we need to address this item. Councilman Ben.
Yes, I just wanted to pull this item to give Chief Ettridge and his them praise. I'm glad this item is, on the agenda, and we passed it. And the reason I said it is because I got a lot of calls before. July is our new fiscal budget year, and I told my constituents that's the reason a lot of lots wasn't getting cut, because we were running low on money, and it was just certain areas of Muskogee, that they were cutting, with houses and stuff. So I wanted the public to know that's the reason we wasn't cutting the lots. Okay. And also, it was something new added, and that's spraying the weeds and stuff, which I think is a very good thing. And so that's, I just wanted to thank y'all. And so that's why I pulled Adam to say thank you and just explain to our citizens what's going on.
Okay.
But thank now you. We're going to have July 1st, we're going to have new money, and them lots are going to get cut, look good, make Muskogee look pretty.
We're do our best.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all. Item number 15.
Do we need to vote on 11?
Whoops.
I don't know.
I guess technically if we took it off the
Yes, we
consent,
do.
we do. Yeah, okay. Do we have a motion and a second?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments further? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Cale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gully. Regular agenda, item number 15.
Hold a public hearing to discuss the Community Development Block Grant Fiscal Year 2017 application documents, citizen participation plan, applicant resolution, and leverage resolution committing up to $117,016 as leverage relating to the Oklahoma Department of Commerce Small City Set-Aside Grant Fund Program, and take action as necessary.
Ms. Callahan will address this item. We'll consider ourselves in a public hearing.
This
This is an item that we're required for our application process to have a public hearing. We have the application public hearing, and then when we close the contract, we do have a public hearing that explains what has been done for the grant during the grant contract period. For this application process, this one that we do every year is we match the small city set-aside funding that we're given with our $100,000 general fund budget that is budgeted for demolition. So this matches that and doubles the work that we're able to do. Along with this demolition, now we've added to help along what Rex and his crew are doing and cleaning up is to add the clearance and with the demolition, which will be bid in the same manner that they do, which is the removal of the trash and debris at a cubic yard rate. And that way we'll get some of the sites that their contractor is not going to be able to get because of the large amount of debris that would need to be cleared. So we're adding that to our contract or our application process these past 2 years. So the amount would be the $117,016, and that's matched with the $100,000, and the $17,016 would be matched with the abatement funds that would help them with their projects also. So it's just an overall cleanup project for demolition and clearance.
Okay,
Questions
all right.
or-
Is there a question or comment, or? And no one had signed up to speak to this item, so we will close the public hearing. Does council have question or comment for Ms. Callahan?
Move for approval.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 16.
Hold a public hearing to consider approval of Ordinance 4022A, amending the Muskogee City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, Zoning, Article 16, Signs, Section 90-16-07, Commercial and Industrial District Sign Regulation by amending Section 90-16-07.a, Temporary signs, providing for codification, repeal or severability, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Garvin, and we'll consider ourselves in the public hearing in this situation as well.
Mayor and members of the council, we're requesting approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 90 zoning regulations, more particularly Section 90-16-70.a temporary signs. The reason for the amendment, if you'll remember correctly, about a few months ago, City Council asked staff to look at the zoning regulations to see what could be revised or amended to make the regulations more business friendly. So we started that process. To do that, first of all, we looked at our existing ordinances and regulations. We then pulled ordinances and regulations from other cities within Oklahoma. We also held 2 public meetings. Those public meetings were held on April the 13th and April the 17th. The reason for those public meetings was to obtain comments, input, and answer any questions from the citizens and business owners. Now, start with this, let me talk about what the ordinance currently allows within the sign regulations. You are allowed 2 temporary signs per business attached to the building. They cannot extend more than 12 inches away from the building, and that's for any property zoned commercially. You're also, if you're located within the highway commercial district in zone C2 and C3, you're also allowed to have 1 flag or balloon attached to a parking light pole. If you remember correctly, this was done several years ago, and it was basically dealing with car lots as a way to address the car lot issues with signs. So that's what the ordinance currently allows. Now, what we're proposing within the C1, C2, and C3 zone is, first of all, you have to have a sign permit. The permit is good for 1 year. It will have to be renewed on an annual basis. You're allowed to have 1 additional sign for every 50 feet of street frontage. Every business will be allowed to have at least 1 sign minimum. The maximum amount will be 4 additional signs per business. And again, that's by square footage. So if you have 200-foot frontage, you're allowed to have 4. But 4, again, is the maximum amount. The maximum area of the sign is 18 square feet per sign area. The main reason for that size of area is to accommodate the flags that you see. Sign cannot sit any closer than 12 feet from the curb or located on private property. The reason why we went 12 feet from the curb is most people know, the right-of-way varies throughout Muskogee. It may be 5 feet from the curb on some properties. It may be 25, 30 feet from the curb on others. And for enforcement purposes, to make it easier, we went with the 12-foot. We've used that 12-foot in the past. We use it for special event signs, and we use it for political signs. So this would be in line with those two requirements. And again, much easier to enforce if we know 12 feet from the curb. The sign can only be displayed during business hours. So if the business is open, they can have it. When it's closed, it's got to be taken down. Any damaged, abandoned, dangerous, faded signs shall be removed immediately. And also for enforcement purposes, when a permit's issued, we will issue a sticker. We want that sticker to be attached to the banner, flag, whatever the temporary sign is. And again, that's for enforcement purposes. Now, signs located within the central business district, downtown. Again, a permit will be required. Annual permit, renew annually. You're allowed to have one sandwich board or A-frame sign per business, and it will be permitted in the right-of-way. Downtown, most of the businesses are built on the property line, so they have no frontage or no grass area or parking in front. Maximum area shall be 8 square feet per sign area, which is per side. Maximum height of 4 feet. The sign cannot obstruct, interfere with pedestrian traffic, traffic signs, signals, or devices. Can only be displayed during business hours. It cannot sit any closer than 2 feet from the curb, requiring at least 5 foot of unencumbered or unobstructed area for pedestrian traffic. So basically, the sidewalk's going to have to be at least 7 foot wide to be allowed to use the sign on the sidewalk area. Because again, 5 foot unobstructed area for pedestrian traffic. The sign shall contain the name of the business or company. We are requiring liability insurance since the signs will be located on the sidewalks within downtown. We are going to also require stickers to be attached to these signs, and this goes for all the signs. Any sign in violation shall be removed immediately. Now, again, just to remind you, the way we come up with this recommendation is through several different areas. One was the input we received from City Council, the public input we received from the 2 meetings, our existing ordinances, and ordinances were reviewed from other cities. At the Planning Commission, we only had 4 of the 7 members who was able to attend the meeting. It was actually a split vote in Planning Commission 2-2. Public Works Committee that met last Tuesday voted unanimously to approve. Be glad to answer any questions.
We have one person that signed up to speak to this item, Tammy Flock. If you would like to come to the microphone, give us your name and your address, please, and you will have 5 minutes to address this item.
I'm Tammy Flock. My husband and I own Quality One Lube and Repair. It's been in business for 20 years. It's located at 212 South B Street in Muskogee. And I didn't come to complain because I really think that when you bring a problem up and you address it, you should be part of the solution. And I'm really, really proud of the City Council for listening to our business owners, for hearing what we had to say, and for following through and making this happen. And I know Gary Garvin put in a lot of time, and I want to say thank you. And I want to thank Wayne Johnson for taking every one of my phone calls. I know. I know.
I had to.
So I just wanted to say thank you, and I think that it's a good step for the City Council that they've taken to bridge the gap between the city and the business owners. And, you know, it's always felt like us against them kind of thing, and I think this is a great way to start that healing process. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tammy. It's the only person that signed up to speak to this item, so we will close the public hearing. Does council have comment or questions?
I have a comment. The same as Mrs. Flock, I'd like to thank Gary and others for the transparent process, the public meetings, all the input, taking measures to make things more standardized and consistent, and they're trying to permit stamp these signs so that it makes us easier for inspection and see that everybody's following the rules. I think everybody's done a great job, and I know they put a little bit of work into it, but I'm very appreciative. I will follow up that Mr. Johnson does a much better job of following up on calls with you than me, but nothing personal to me, and I'm giving him a hard time. He's real good about returning calls and taking care of people. So, thank you for your input.
Gary, I've got one question on that sticker. Will it have a serial number on it and be a sign in case for?
It'll have a building permit number, because when we issue a building permit, it generates a number, and we'll attach that number to it. So if there is an issue with the sign, the code enforcement department can call inspections. We can bring up that permit and make sure one's been issued and what the conditions were.
And so if the business has that sign destroyed or whatever, that sticker will be replaced at no cost, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I just want some clarity on that.
Yes.
That will wind up probably happening. Somebody will need another sticker for something. Thank you.
Well, Gary, I remember about 3 years ago when we started putting those sign ordinances and everything together, and I don't think any intention was when we were putting those together was to hurt anybody from putting out any kind of advertisement. It was just that the packet at that time was so massive, and we were spending days and days of different sections of the building code and ordinances. But we even had questions then, is this going to hinder the employees, the businesses at that time? And when we brought it up again at that time, there was a lot of backlash. There was a lot of people that wasn't in favor of it, and it just kind of stayed where it was at. I'm kind of glad to see that it's finally changed, because I remember me and you having that conversation several times, and it needed to change. It's time. Thank you.
Move for approval.
Gary, we had
Second.
I'm sorry.
I had a couple of questions that come up since last week. We have some community events that occur that we have temporary signs out there, such as G-Fest.
Yeah,
We have a summer feeding program that occurs, that we have some small banner signs that happen up. We have the library program. How would they fall into this sign?
The same
temporary
question
sign
come up to me, and basically the stuff that you mentioned are considered special events, and there's a different ordinance for special events. Basically, they can go up 30 days prior to the event, has to be taken down within 7 days. They can actually be off-premise signs, so it won't have any impact on those types of events.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Other comments or questions? Entertain a motion for this item.
So moved.
We already
So
have.
moved in second.
Whoops, we didn't have the second, though, did we?
Yes, we did.
Do have a second.
Sorry.
How about we have a roll call?
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coper.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 17.
Receive year-end report from retail attractions for activities in fiscal year 2016, 2017, as well as consider approval to renew a professional services agreement with Retail Attractions LLC for fiscal year 2017, 2018.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, this is our contract with our retail consultant who helps us in business recruitment and has been instrumental in some of the economic development projects that we brought forward within the past year. He's going to give a brief report on that. We have budgeted money already in the budget that's approved to pay this contract for the next year. And so I wanted to point that out and let you hear from Ricky Hayes, if you don't mind, and let him present a little bit about what he's
Thank
done.
you, Mike. Mayor and council, it's always a pleasure to be with you, Mr. Miller, Mr. Tucker, and all the other ladies and gentlemen that are here. We started a process many years ago, first at the chamber, and then moved the process over here to City Hall and directly under the council to market the city of Muskogee's retail market to national retailers and restaurants. One time there was a city councilor that really wanted a steakhouse. He wanted it bad. And I don't think you ever threatened bodily harm, but it was implied.
I got a steakhouse.
It's been a fun process. The city, what the council just did a few minutes ago, what this business owner, I will echo exactly what she said. When you're business friendly, the private sector wants to invest in your community, especially when it's one as strong as Muskogee's is. And so I'm just simply here tonight to tell you that retail's changing. You know it's changing. You're watching it change every day, right in front of our eyes. Announcement last week: groceries. Amazon steps up out of the abyss and says we are going to get in the grocery business. So I'm telling you, retail's changing. We changed the liquor laws, not because of a moral issue or anything like that. That's still a private thing to Oklahomans. But we changed the liquor laws because other communities, it had become past a moral issue, which is a private issue anyway, and it become an economic development issue. And so archaic laws were changed. I'm not saying they were good laws or bad laws. They were just laws that were archaic, much like the code that Mr. Garvin just, what you heard tonight. I can tell you that we're not through in Muskogee. Muskogee's market is not saturated. There are more retailers who want to get here. Competition's good. And what we've set out to create from the very beginning was a regional shopping district where not only Muskogee and Muskogee County, but Wagner, Fort Gibson, McAllister, and other communities would stop in. And that's happening today right in front of your very eyes. And I'm happy to say we've had a hand in that. I've enjoyed working with every one of you, and I'm available to each one of you 24/7. All you have to do is call me. I'll answer any questions you have at any time. We went to ICSC in May. Our URA area and the area on the Shawnee Bypass is still very active with the national tenants trying to find the right dirt and the right spot and the right price. The city's in a good position to put that dirt on the market and be competitive with it. Other parts of the city are starting to see attention. I'm very humbled by your confidence in us, and I want to work for you for another year. If the council would see to it, we'd like to stay. Appreciate every one of you.
Do you have a guest with you you'd like to
I do.
introduce?
She's my wife, and I always bring her to the contract deals because if they say no, she throws a fit, and most of the time they'll change their mind. I'm just kidding. She does not. She's never thrown a fit in her life. It's my wife, Wendy, certainly the smartest woman in our house. So
welcome, Wendy.
It's the smartest person in our house. Let me
Prove this point right there.
I'm in trouble now.
Right. Ricky, work with me here. I'll get you.
All right,
out
I'm
of
with you.
trouble.
Help me out, Bob.
Is there questions or comments?
Ricky, when we talk, I know you bumped about groceries a little bit there for a second. I grabbed a hold of a copy of your report the other day, and I was driving around Muskogee looking at the areas that we don't have grocery stores in. And right in the middle of my ward, there's not a grocery store. Ward 2 out by Hilldale, we need a grocery store, guys.
We're working real hard, and the thing about the grocery business right now is this kind of transformer-like morphing that the retail industry is doing toward consumer sales online or by phone. You call, you order online, you go pick up. Walmart's doing it right now. They're building customer pickup modules in the stores because Macy's built the distribution center in Owasso. Our company was fortunate enough to be part of the demographic package that they used to relocate that company. And when that company came, I sat on the podium next to a VP of real estate at Macy's, and I said, what does this mean for retail? And he said, well, it means that brick and mortar stores are going to get smaller, and these distribution centers are going to come up all over. And we should be, and I have threatened to call Marie a couple of times this week. One of the things that we are a prime area for distribution here. We're north of I-40. We're south of I-44. We're right in the middle of the country here. Perfect for distribution. And we've got vision on the council. We've got vision at the Port Authority and the EDC side. We have a city that's turned the corner and is doing great. And it's time to stretch out. And those nodes of retail is becoming more community oriented. They're going to the people. Dollar General and those people started that many years ago. Let's go to the people. Let's go. They don't need an intersection. They just need a place where two roads are close to each other, and they'll put a store. But Muskogee has a great deal of potential, not only on the 69 corridor, but we're really excited about the Peak and York area, and then some of this downtown area too. The more as we make these changes and modernize our criteria for development and those type of things, it's going to keep getting better. And I have to say this because I literally Mark Dean at Colton's. I literally threatened to block him from my phone He called me the first day that opened and said they had the largest opening day in Colton's history. The whole chain, 47 stores in Muskogee.
I told you they would.
I know. And they said there was a city council there was eating 2 or 3 steaks at a time. And no, they didn't name any names. Long story short, every day that week he calls me, and every day of the week they beat the record from the day before. For an entire week, went through that weekend, and that's this Monday when he called. I said, "Listen, I told you it was there," and he said, "Well, Colton's VP wants to talk to you about helping us locate our other Oklahoma stores." And I said, "Well, that's what we do."
Do you want me to go with you?
We can. Are you going to need a commission? I'll need to clear all the legal stuff out, Mr. Tucker. All right. Thank you.
Well,
I'm sorry
and
for
my
going down
other
that trail.
question is that when I drove through Muskogee, we have 9 forms of grocery stores in Muskogee. A majority of those set on the north side of Okmulgee Street.
Yep.
One of them so close it might as well be on Okmulgee Street. There's a big, vast area out there, and I've been told that we can't have a grocery store out there, but I beg to differ. I was told we couldn't have a steakhouse either, but I've got 3 more years to figure this out.
Yeah, I'm with you. The thing about the more of the neighborhood grocery facilities is that we're starting to be able to prove the regional market. It's not just the 45,000 of Muskogee. And you'll see when we get this market information fully absorbed into the private sector, the project that we've all been working on for many, many months, we created a larger trade area because we could prove that it wasn't just Muskogee, Fort Gibson, Wagner, but that it was Salisaw and McAllister and Eufaula, every bit of this 69 and 412 corridor, and these 2 turnpikes, 44 and 40 both, just a really, really, really unique location. And so, what we're getting that message out, and the more that message penetrates the grocery sector, is you'll see them begin to analyze the market not based on the Muskogee city limits, but where this outside traffic's coming in. And so I think we're going to see some other locations, and grocery stores are getting smaller, so they're less expensive to build, and they stick them in places, a lot of times backfill places, and sometimes you see them even take a block downtown, I think a case could be made as we continue to progress and vision, for downtown that something good like that could happen down here.
I'm not picky. I just need one.
I'm with you. I'm working.
You made a good argument, and I've believed this for a long time, about our centralized location in the United States for distribution centers. And not only does our highway infrastructure surrounding our community a big benefit, but our airport is a tremendous benefit, and we're capable of landing the biggest jets. And I hope that you're taking a real proactive approach in getting the word out to just what a distribution community we could be.
Just this year, we made some company goals at the beginning of the year to really expand, because retail development is fine, but retail development alone is not going to secure the financial prosperity and revenue stream that growing cities need. Now, we can't get sales tax any other place, but to make the retail operate, we need to be looking, how do we get people to move to Muskogee? How do we get residential development to occur here? How do we build market rate multifamily to get that to occur here? And we're bringing some folks in the next couple of weeks to look at that very thing. The other side of that is the holistic message that, and that's what I wanted to talk to Marie about, is that we believe that the distribution industry is very underrepresented, even in Oklahoma. If you go down around Dallas, you see distribution centers everywhere. Almost all the suburbs of Dallas have some form, of a logistics or distribution type manufacturing or industrial setting there, and we're prime for it, really prime for it.
I agree.
So I think we're onto something. I think the work that the council's done, I've never seen as much consensus and as much thought and progression as I'm seeing in this group of people I'm standing in front of tonight. I know y'all think I'm trying to sway you and all that, but I'm really not.
So, Ricky, on the lines of what Councilor Hall was asking earlier. Are there smaller chain grocery stores that specialize in working in food desert areas? Because one of my concerns is that the growing trend is that food deserts are expanding, particularly in areas where people are oppressed or economically disadvantaged, and they don't have the resources to go outside of their communities. And so, what can we do in terms of trying to recruit someone that specializes in food deserts, even if it's a smaller, not such a brand chain?
Councilor Coleman, it's an excellent question, and we're helping on a project in North Tulsa right now, that very same thing, where there's a need for a grocery store, and what we've got is two dollar stores trying to fill the need. Well, the community doesn't want another dollar store; they want a real grocery store.
Right.
And so we're on a committee that's discussing possible alternatives. To your point, we're reviewing a list right now we just got from a data subscription that we subscribe to every year. I've got 62 grocery corporate real estate names and numbers from 62 different national brands who would look at Oklahoma right now. We're starting to see attention from groups that have never even been in our state, and part of that was the liquor law change. That's what started the swell of interest on our state when those laws changed. And what I think we will see is Muskogee is a good test market, because in the suburbs and in some of the other micropolitan markets, the incomes are very, very extreme. Bixby's household income is over $120,000 a household. Compare that to Muskogee's, which we really struggle to get to $50,000, $60,000. Now that's a solid number, and we see the retailers looking now and coming to the market. But what we're really focused on is what we're trying to prove is not only is the income sufficient inside Muskogee, but the commerce that comes here to shop.
Step in front.
I'm sorry.
Speak in the
I'm
microphone,
sorry.
please, Ricky.
I was wanting to get closer to my brother. We're seeing it, the more they look at the market and look at the outside consumers coming in. That's why we're starting to get all this interest on these big boxes. There's a new German competitor of Aldi's, very similar in. We were on the phone with them 2 hours last Friday, and 2,000 stores in 3 years. That's an aggressive growth pattern. Winco's coming. We've discussed Muskogee's market multiple times with Winco. They have a site under construction in Tulsa right now, and there are many other grocery chains. Kroger is actually looking. Kroger has King Soopers and Dillon's in other states, but still one big corporate chain. And then there's some smaller affiliated foods and those type of things. And Walmart will be back out very soon with the neighborhood market concept. In fact, I just heard this week that Walmart is closing 8 stores in Oklahoma. The first one's in Perry. Anybody know where Perry, Oklahoma is? Just right on 35, just north of Oklahoma City. And the reason is, and if you look at around the state, there's about 8 or 9 of these stores left. You remember the first original, what they call the D store, Walmart with one single entry, had 4 doors, but it was just one, didn't have a food entrance and a regular entrance. You just had one right in the middle. Those stores, some of those got converted to super centers back in the day, and those stores, they're turning, their margin is so good in the neighborhood markets that they're closing those D stores and putting neighborhood markets in the nearest towns up the highway. So Edmond and Guthrie and those people will be looking at supercharging their Walmarts because they're closing these outbound stores. So it's just a business move and another getting on the online stuff. But yes, we're targeting that very grocery not only in Tulsa but in here, but in Muskogee as well.
Okay.
Other questions or comments?
You may be able to recognize Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Hayes, I totally agree with Mr. Hall. Even me and Councilor Reed, we're councilman in Ward 3. And on 24th Street out there, we have an addition. And it would be definitely nice to have a grocery store out there.
We will. I'm going to come down with Gary and we'll map all those areas out and start including those in our site plans that we send out in our marketing material.
I'm pretty sure our citizens definitely appreciate that.
We'll do it.
I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Other comments or questions?
Would like to make one comment. I don't know if everybody remembers, we did have a former assistant city manager that helped us pull the numbers together, that helped us get the steakhouse and
Yes, sir.
bring some good things to Muskogee, and,
Yes, you did.
now he's our city manager, and
Yes,
I do
he did.
appreciate that.
Thank
So
you.
we were saying about the steakhouse, a lot of that took place at that same time.
It
so.
did, and
I gave him a hug too.
Well, it was a team. Here's another guy that
Absolutely.
helped a great deal on
That
that.
was a team
And Mike,
venture, and I just want to
Mr.
say that was a
Tucker.
great
it's a team. It's a team. It's
That's
a
right.
team event. It really is. All that retail has been a team event.
Wayne wants a hug too. I'm gonna give him one.
No, please.
We may have stopped and do a little pep rally for the team.
I think we just did.
Everybody's been a contributor and done a lot of good work. Other comments or questions for Mr. Hayes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Comment or question? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes?
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you for all the help, Ricky and Wendy. Appreciate you guys. Item number 17. Whoops, item number 18.
Consider approval to accept the best quote from Oklahoma Mutual Assurance Group, OMAG, for the city's property and rolling stock insurance in the amount of $288,586 for policy year ending July 1, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, or take any other necessary action.
Mr. Miller again.
Yes, this past year, we were looking for every way we could possibly cut the budget and save on our expenses. Our treasurer, Jean Kingston, took it upon herself to make sure we got additional bids for our property insurance. And as you can see, she came back with one that was not only about $12,000 less than last year, but also has a much lower deductible, $45,000 lower, as well as a lower premium. So we recommend taking that, and Jean can answer any questions if you have any. But I'm happy that we were able to do this and save money and get, I think, a better policy for less money.
Comment or question? Thank
Move
you,
the
Gene.
approval.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Other comments?
Gene does a great job. Appreciate you, Gene.
And an avid bicycle rider, too.
I'm not riding no bicycle.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 19.
Consider the approval of the appointment of Daniel T. Miller to the Airport Board to serve a 2-year term beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2019, succeeding Ann Barker Ong, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Patrick Kale.
For those that may be aware or not aware, our airport board has a member from the Chamber of Commerce, a member from our city council, and then I think, is it 5 at-large members, Mike? That make up our airport board. And Daniel Miller, who's been very involved in our community and served on other committees, naturally involved with the city council, meets our qualifications, and he would do a wonderful job. And I pleaded with him to take the position, and he did so gladly, and I'd like to recommend him.
Does the airport board meet after the market closes each day?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes?
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to citizens wishing to speak, and we have three,
Well,
2 for this section and 1 for the executive session. Brandon Garner, you had signed up to speak, sir. Give us your name and your address, please.
I'm
Brandon?
going to go first, Mayor.
Pardon me?
I'm going first. I said I'm going first.
All right, we're going to go in the reverse order. Ivory Van, and if you'd give us your name, sir, and your address, please.
Feels natural for him to go to the podium, doesn't it?
Ivory Van, 911 Holden, Muskogee, Oklahoma. I would like these gentlemen here to step up to the mic for me. Come on. This is Mr. Michael Mahan, and this is Timothy Lane. And Julie Fields, she had to step out, so maybe when she comes back in, we can recognize her. But I really like to recognize these individuals. You notice on Facebook, it was in the paper Sunday about this lady named Miss Yoger. Jana Yoga, but she was a homeless lady down here at the bridge. So these gentlemen, they went down there along with the Officer Garner, and they cleaned that area up well. And when I say they done a good job, they done a good job. And I just, like I said, I just wanted to bring them up here from the Gospel Rescue Mission and thank them personally. And I want you to see the council, because these are the gentlemen that done it.
Thank
along
you,
with
sir.
Miss Judy Fields, which I hope she'll be back. Come on. That's all right. This is Miss Julie Fields. She also helped in the project. And also we had an ex-city employee, JJ. He helped in the project down there at the bridge. And now it looks good. She has a place, you know, to stay for just a little while, but she won't be there long. God works in mysterious ways. He can work things out, trust me. You know, and so we have a lot of people to thank. We'd like to thank the Gospel Rescue Mission. There was a big part in it. They took the ladies' clothes, they washed them. People brought food, but I couldn't get the lady's last name. She worked at the VA. Her name was Gloria. She brought the dog down there. She also has a little dog, and I forgot the dog's name. What's the dog's name? Ursula. And Ursula's got a lot of food. I mean, that dog is fat. But we had, like I say, it's good to work as a community and work together. And I just wanted these citizens to be recognized. You know, it's what really warms my heart is sometimes people have less, they will do more for our community, and that's the fact. And this project here, it just done something to my heart. And I'm gonna let Officer Garner come up and tell what he did today to accomplish some of the things that to get Mr. Younger out from under that bridge. And she will be leaving out from under that bridge. So I'm going to let him explain everything that he accomplished today and the people that helped today with the donations and everything. So at this time, I'm going to yield the floor to Officer Garner.
All right, Brandon had signed up. And Brandon, if you would, give us your name and your address, please, and we'll be official in the way we do this.
Sure. Brandon Garner, 4501 Girard. Today, it wasn't a single person's effort. I had a little help from Councilman Van and these fine people here. But today we went to the Salvation Army, picked up as much clothing and bedding as would be allowed from them. Picked up some donations from Teen Thrift Challenge there on East Side Boulevard. Mike Ebert from Walmart was gracious enough to donate us some totes so that we could store her clothes and her personal belongings and canned food and what have you inside of these totes instead of trash bags. It's a little more pleasing to the eye. Also, we've been working with Green Country today with Sue Spears, I believe is her name, trying to get some headway there. She's got some paperwork for her to sign tomorrow, and if all goes well, then Jana will be allowed back into the mission with her dog, with special provisions, of course, but it's just a matter of whether or not she'll go along with it. And see if we can get her some other help. I've been talking with some other folks, trying to establish some sort of collective network of resources to kind of assure that maybe this doesn't happen again, so that we have a better pool of resources to draw from, more information. So I learned some things working with Councilman Van that I didn't know were available before, so now we have access to some extra things that we didn't know about. So slowly but surely, we're getting there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Oh, did you mention also the animal control?
Oh, yes. Phil Blair from Animal Control showed up today, and he gave Ursula some shots and some worming medicine free of charge out of his own pocket. He also offered her, I believe, some flea medicine, but she wasn't in keen with the chemicals, so she declined that, and they're working on getting all of her shot records up to date and all the paperwork so that she can take the dog to the mission with her.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon.
You bet.
Appreciate it. That is the two people that signed up to speak to this item. Now we'll now go to item 20A.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. A, pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development in the northeast quadrant of the city, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
And we have one citizen that has signed up to speak to this item. Bill Johnson, if you would come to the microphone and give us your name and your address, please. And then we'll consider an action for executive session.
Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, I am Bill Johnson. I live at 3403 Toll Place. And we have been in discussion about this project for some time, and I have met with City Manager, Mr. Mike Miller, and also with City Planner, Gary Garvin. At this point, we're requesting no funds from economic development funds. I know you have 400,000. I know you have 400,000 more coming. We're out asking for any of that money. We have moved forward. We've had a conversation with the loan broker that they participate in, and our project is scheduled to bring conservatively 100 new jobs, $1 million in new tax revenue for the city of Muskogee, and to completely reinvigorate Kurtzwald. And open up 160,000 square foot of buildings that's now vacant and not producing any sales tax. We're doing that, and all we're asking on the back end is some reimbursement of the new tax money that we collect in order to meet the standards and requirements for the loans from the USDA. So that's where we're at, and I want to speak about the groceries. I can tell you where to get your grocery retailer. It's Harps. I know them well. And they're building a new store in Fort Gibson right now, and they're employee owned. I know the format. They've got a 33,000 square foot store. It fits perfectly what you need. What I'm bringing and what I'm proposing is something that's much more than a grocery store. It's a grocery store that will have more of a regional draw. It will be a grocery operation that others haven't seen. All of the things that I'm talking about doing is new types of business bringing to Muskogee. I did originally put the store in at York and Hancock, and I recognized then that was an open market out there, and it's still open today, even though that they bought the store. I think a new store that you're wanting, probably farther south, probably will put stress on that York and Hancock Street store. But if you're wanting a new store out there, it's Harps. I will be glad to help you get it. I know them well. I know Muskogee well. And I'm going to just pause and say, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
With this being an agenda item, can we ask?
You got 5 minutes.
We can engage in conversation.
Yeah, you got,
Okay.
in addition to his discussion, you've got 5 minutes of question and answers.
Okay. Is there a question or comment?
There's no risk on the city's part. There's nothing but return. I'm going to work for you, and I'm paying you. And I want to continue that relationship. I've spoken about this. It's not for personal gain. It's my effort to give back to Muskogee and to fulfill a ministry call of my own. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Johnson.
you.
We'll now entertain a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully?
Yes.
Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Marlon Coleman?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes. Motion carries. We'll now consider ourselves in executive session. If you all would excuse us.
Get it now.
Now reconvene from executive session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn?
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully?
Here.
Dan Hall?
Here.
Marlon Coleman?
Here.
Janie Boydston?
Here.
Wayne Johnson?
Here.
Patrick Kale?
Here.
Ivory Van?
Here.
Derek Reed?
Here.
Mr. Tucker, regarding item 20A.
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to Section 307C10, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session for the purpose of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, particularly in the northeast quadrant of the city. After fully discussing the matter in executive session, I believe an appropriate motion would be, now bear with me, approval to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute 2 economic development agreements with Johnson Enterprises Holding Company, Inc., which provides the following incentives. Sales tax rebate of 25% of the 2% municipal purpose portion of the city sales tax, payable from new tax revenue generated by the project above an agreed sales tax baseline for a period of 10 years or until the applicant has been paid $839,725, whichever comes first, and which include the following assurances, among others, as discussed and authorized in executive session. Stormwater repaired in the Kurtz Mall area and brought to city code. Assurances that a $500,000 portion of the purchase price is used for improvements to the Kurtz Mall Center.
So moved.
Second.
The motion and second. Is there comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully,
No.
Jenny Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale,
Yes.
Marlon Coleman,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
No.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Motion carries, and that concludes our agenda for this evening's meeting. Thank you for being a part.